Hey y'all, hey! It's your girl IT from Tears and We Tarot Show, where you're showing up, never know what you're gonna get. Tonight, I am having some conversations with the YouTube community on the MCU universe. Ooh, it's done got my juices flowing, y'all. We having this whole conversation about Cap and T'Challa and Peter and all these just the different storylines in Marvel. It's nothing major considering this shit is all fake. But the thing about it, I think is so coincident, is that it brings up conversation topics about the values, right? So right now, I need to move my little glass out the way. Sipping on some water. Get that sip. Yeah, it brings up like just values in today's society and like how people think about things. So one conversation where people feel like Peter Parker is a pretty bad dude for No Way Home, considering he almost caused an incursion with the help of Doctor Strange. So who's more responsible? So a lot of people think that Peter is, unfortunately. I don't necessarily agree. Yeah, they have no forgiveness. The shit is upside down anyway. Let's look at it. Yeah, it is. It's upside down. Anywho, so I don't agree that Peter was the one at fault. Yes, Peter should not have, been so emotional, but he's a kid. He's still in high school. You know what I mean? What do you expect from a high school kid endowed with these powers? And he done fought up with all these grown-up people. You know what I mean? He all mixed up and incombobulated, discombobulated, and all that good stuff. He done seen Uncle Ben pass and, just all this nonsense, right? Then it's who was the better leader. Most people chose Cap. He had the highest percentage in the polling. I don't agree. I think Cap is a vigilante. He has a suchy-muchy type of attitude, like everything must go his way. He can't pick what side of the fence that he's on, and he can turn on his friends at a given moment. Just saying. He toned on Tony after they became friends and kind of camaraderies and fought through some serious stuff to save Bucky, who ended up being a sleeper agent and killed a whole bunch of other people, including Tony's parents and T'Challa's father too. Right? So Cap is a little iffy, depending on what he feel like is the value of the day. That's not consistent. That's not good. Tony, he was turning over another leaf when he became an Avenger, trying to do some good stuff, using his technology, but he was a weapons dealer, and a lot of his stuff, caused problems. There's a lot of reasons why, folks was villains. Like, we could look at the Scarlet Witch, because, anywho. Then there was who? It was Thor. Thor's next. Love and Thunder should just let folks know. How about the first one? You know what I mean? He was already a war hero or whatever. And, I guess according to Greek mythology, he was worthy of the hammer at first, but then he kind of flipped, and then he wasn't worthy, and it took fall in love with a woman and who showed him, that to not be selfish, and he became worthy after that. And he, was a great soldier, but he was highly traumatized and emotionally disconnected, and really? And then there was T'Challa, who was actually groomed to be a leader, saw his father get murdered, went to go catch the person that murdered him, even though he was on some vigilante shit, like to bring him into justice. But come on, justice for us is really not, But anywho, we're not going to touch that part. We're just saying, it was like, no, who's the better leader? Cap. Why? We can talk about the why. Come on now, anywho. Yeah, so that got me thinking about Love and Thunder, though. Because, again, I've touched on this because I think that movie is very, very coinky. So, we're talking about Thor, who is a god, right? I don't know if he's a demigod or if he's a full god. I think he's a god. Anywho. Lower level god. Odin's son. So, Love and Thunder, there's Gore, who's like straight devotee to his God, what he was raised up under. We know the story, lost his daughter, she died in the desert, he make it and see his God like, yeah, you just a follower, I really eat y'all praise for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you just make me strong, I'm really not gonna do shit for you. But anywho, so the Necro Sword sword of death, the necro sword, which ended up really, I think, is like the sword of truth. The only thing that could kill the false gods. Did y'all catch that too? Yeah, the only thing that could kill the false gods was the sword of truth that called out to a devotee who had been abandoned, done wrong by his God. He ain't know that that wasn't the right God. This is what him and his people was raised under. I mean, like, this is go back to, because you got all these guys. Oh, and where was the sword of truth told Gore to go to eternity and ask that the source of eternity, and that sits in that space. Come on, think about this thing. Kill all the false gods. And Gore didn't just go on a spree. Like, yeah, he killed some lower level gods, but at the end of the day, he found a whole way. Get the Bifrost, go to eternity, and just wish for them all to be gone. He wasn't even really seeking to go to Omnipotent City. He was none of that stuff. He was just going to go and ask for the source of all to get rid of all of the false gods. But that would have killed Thor too, wouldn't it? So was Thor's, his whole, in that mission in there was not a good mission. It wasn't. Especially if you don't want the world to be praising false gods. So why is it that we seeing, why are we having the conversation about the values of this stuff? Literally, the one person who was actually born to be a king, groomed to be a king, taught the responsibility of kingship since a youngster. Like that, it wouldn't have mattered. He was in line for successorship. T'Challa was anyway. And nope, we value the person that's enhanced by something that came out of a test tube because they felt inadequate. Yeah. What was Cap's frame of mind when he joined the military? What was he really looking to accomplish for self? What was his real internal, intrinsic motivation? Let's get that. What about Thor? What was his true intrinsic motivation? Did he not end up just keeping in a whole system of false gods who didn't give a shit about none of the people that's worshiping them anywhere across the cosmos? Instead of setting the people free from a backward state of mind. No, that's not what they did. And actually, Thor didn't kill Gore. Gore was cursed by the energy of the sword of truth, because carrying the truth is a burden. That's a whole cross to carry. And you usually are taken out in that. Like, most people who really carry that heavy burden don't live a full life. They don't. Ha! Trust that. Come on with this thing. Father say trust that, because they don't. And think, like, he was literally supposed to take out the false gods and set people free. Free in their mind, free in their heart, Excuse me, y'all, I need a sip. But free in their mind and free in their heart, so that they could, understand really what the real was. That those guys had no intention on helping them, protecting them, saving them, nothing. That it was a whole game. And then at the end of it, really what happened is just started a whole nother cycle of strife with Zeus. Not to mention that Gore's daughter is now in wherever fighting alongside Thor. Fighting the good fight when they probably could have solved the whole thing by wishing all of those fake gods to go away. People were so attached. Yeah, they wanted to improve their health and bring about this big happy changes. That's what the split was. But that's unlikely, because people don't really want that. And that's what I was getting ready to say. It would have helped. It would have brought big happy changes for all the people in the realms who actually follow these false gods that were hardly doing nothing for them. I mean, some are good, or, no. But they're putting their worship in false gods. Gods that have no interest in saving them. None. It's unlikely that people would come away from that idea. Everybody held on to it like they killed our gods. Instead of somebody, explaining the truth. You know, depending on what you believe. Depending on what you believe, you can ask the source, though. Ask your angels. Ask the ancestors what they think. Should Gore have lived? Well, he would have died anyway because he was cursed by the sword of truth, so we can say he's going to live. But should he have allowed the other false gods to live? I would say no. No, he shouldn't have. He made it to eternity, the source, and he should have asked source, I believe, in my opinion, to make all the false gods go away. Because that is what the mission of Elijah was. When we read Kings, we can see that Elijah was attempting to take out all the false gods. Turn the children back into the right way. But we don't, and then let's think about, now Gore's daughter is with Thor, Odin's son. Doing what? Learning how to become a who? Maybe she's going to come out different than Hela. Get more information. Do I need to watch the movie again? No. But, Thor and all those other people should have gotten more information. They should have had a better, like a longer sighted purview. I'm trying to say the opposite of short-sighted, and it's not coming out exactly right. But I think that's a part of the issue with MCU in general, is that they all act, is like knee-jerk reactions. Don't see how their actions are actually creating more problems down the line. Of course, it is a Marvel comic. It's supposed to, go on and on and on. So, like in the case of Peter and Doctor Strange in No Way Home, I mean, the movie would have been over if Strange had to be like, no, Peter, that's not a good idea. I'm going to be the adult in the room and tell you no, because you really don't know what you're asking for. Like if your daughter see a glass of bleach on the table and she think that there's water and asks you for it, you're not going to say, yeah, that's not a good idea, but take a sip anyway. Or I'm going to hand you the glass. You're going to say, no, it's bleach. It might look like water, but it's not. It will kill you, and, it's not good. And move the freaking glass, or don't put bleach in the glass. I'm just saying. Something within the next few weeks. I don't know if anybody's expecting something, an answer for something or something or other. The card within the next few weeks is coming out. Also, a card that says you're ready. Don't know if you are looking for something, a job or opportunity, a new career change, a move, or whatever the case may be. But Spirit says within the next few weeks it's going to happen, and you're ready for it, whatever that case may be. Yeah. And maybe it's something that you have to make a choice on, but Spirit says it's up to you. It's up to you. The choice, the decision is going to be up to you, but you'll get a chance to make that decision within the next couple of weeks. Okay. Yeah. So that's just my little random thoughts on the MCU. Just sitting up here flipping cards, doing nothing much else but chopping it up, doing some random communication and networking on YouTube. See what folks is got going on. See what they talking about. Yeah. That's pretty much what we were doing. See if y'all can see that. Spirit says yes. That's exactly what we were doing. And we just wanted to pop in and share that with you all because we think it's pretty funny. We think it's pretty coincident that, the values of the MCU, like a lot of other, are very, very backwards. And we tune in because it's entertaining, but the fact that people really do take it to heart in terms of their value system, yet instead of being able to look at these movies and pieces of entertainment and really derive the true message and the theme behind them. Even when it comes down to what was that last one with not the last one, but with Thor, not Thor, what's his name? Thanos, that dude, the green with dude with the chin. So, is it in war or war game or anywho, whatever the case may be. So, I believe in the comic, the Celestial wakes up and rips Earth apart or something like that in one of the storylines, and a part of Thanos' plan is to prevent that from happening. So when the population reaches a certain capacity on a planet, the Celestial wakes up. So and a part of that is predicated on what is going on in the plane. So, y'all come for me in the comments. Leave your thoughts. I ain't got it all down, you know what I mean, like that, because I definitely have not read all the storylines to all the comics and all of that good stuff. This is just really watching the movies and a little bit of knowledge that I do have of the storylines based on the comics. There you go. But if you think about the fact that Thanos knows that the Celestials exist and where they come from deep inside the planet, and they wake up and rip your whole planet apart, then the predecessors, the precursors to that happening was already starting to take place. It was one of the reasons I believe that Thanos was on his way, not only to get the stones, but it was just like, we have to keep this from happening. We're going to lose the whole. So I'd rather get rid of half to keep the remainder. But people didn't see that. They didn't know what the full plan was. And even when Thanos told the people on his planet, they couldn't see that end. Oh, it must be another way. And what happened to Thanos' planet? It was destroyed. They never went all the way through how, I don't think, particularly all the details. If they do, I don't recall them. I don't. It's just a fact that it is. The fact that the Avengers themselves were short-sighted and reactionary. They didn't have enough information or take the time to get a fuller picture of why this is happening. You think about Odin and Hela, right? So Hela comes back like, no, I'm the rightful heir to the throne. Odin is dead, and the throne belongs to me. Yeah, she had an agenda, but where did she get it from? Her whole mission was to do what? And this whole movie of them trying to stop her from being inevitable, instead of really seeing what the fullness was. I don't know. Maybe Asgard would still exist. We don't know. If they had accepted the fact that Hela was the rightful person to ascend to the throne, maybe Asgard would still exist. She probably would have went on the whole thing to control the rest of the 9 realms. But at the end of the day, Asgard would still exist. It doesn't anymore. Things that make me go, I love the MCU universe though. Why? Because it really makes me go, Till the next time with your girl, Lottie on Tears and Wheat Tarot Show, where you showing up, never know what you gonna get. We're gonna call this here, and Ashe. Do they know what we're gonna get, Father? Anytime they come around here, do they know? Do they know? Father says, no. You sure enough never know what you gonna get when you roll around here. Till the next time, y'all, we're gonna say this. I love y'all, and Ashe. Mwah.